Here in episode 13, we will keep working with loops, but this time a different kind of loop. It's what's called a for loop. So in the last chapter, chapter 12, we looked at a while loop. It looks at a condition, true and a false condition, a while loop. If the condition is true, then continue doing something until the condition becomes false, then stop. This time here we look at a for loop, and it can be for every word or every letter in a word do a certain thing. Or it can be for every number in a sequence of numbers do something. Or it can be for every index in a list do something. And when it reaches the end of the list, then stop. So that's for loops, and that's what we will be trying to look at here.
Hey and welcome here. I'm Torkild Brunsnes, and this is Python Learning by Doing. I strongly believe that learning by doing, that's the way that works the best. It is for me, I can tell you. So try to follow this, these chapters here, and do what I'm showing on the screen. Follow it on your own computer, and when you have gone through all the different chapters, I promise you, you will be an excellent programmer. Well, let's grab a cup of coffee, and then let's just get going.
And the very first for loop we will be looking at, that is for every letter in a text string. We want the loop to do or to print out each letter, for instance. So we can say for, and then we say letter in, and then let's say, what should we put as word? We use the old Harley Davidson. And then you can see this editor is kind. It tells me you need a colon here. That's one of these things that are so easy to forget. And for each letter in the word Harley Davidson, we want it to print. We want it to print the letter. So that's the first very simple loop we will make here. And let's try to run it. And then you can see down here, try to see, it writes Harley Davidson with each letter underneath. And that's because it executes line by line. So the first run, print letter in Harley Davidson. So for each run it goes through this loop, it will print one letter. And we'll start with H, next loop, A, next loop, R. And that's what you see down here. For each run of the loop, it will print one letter in this text string. The next example here, we will try to look at a list. If we have a list of organized entries, then for each entry in that list, we want a loop to print out each entry. So we will start defining our list, and we can say it's members. Or spelled with M here. So we call it members. And we set members equal to, and now we create a list. And remember, that's the sharp brackets. And in there we have, we can say Bob. And we have Jim. And we have, let's say Karen. So that's our list we have created here. And then we create our for loop now. So we say for member in members. And there we want it to print member. So you can see the way it works is very similar to the previous example. Now it goes through that list here of members, and it should print these underneath each other when we run it. So let's try to run it. And you can see we get Bob, Jim, Karen. So it keeps running through the loop until there are no more items in the list up here. The next example here, we will try to look at a list. If we have a list of organized entries, then for each entry in that list, we want a loop to print out each entry. So we will start defining our list, and we can say it's members. Or spelled with M here. So we call it members. And we set members equal to, and now we create a list, and remember that's the sharp brackets. And in there we have, we can say Bob, and we have Jim, and we have let's say Karen. So that's our list we have created here. And then we create our for loop now. So we say for member in members. And there we want it to print member. So you can see the way it works is very similar to the previous example. Now it goes through that list here of members, and it should print these underneath each other when we run it. So let's try to run it. And you can see we get Bob, Jim, Karen. So it keeps running through the loop until there are no more items in the list up here. The next example here will be with a range of numbers from 0 to 10. Print each number for each run through the loop until we reach the end of the range. So it would be for index. We want to do it for every index in range, and we can say 7. And then we can say print. We want it to print the index. And we will try that. And just to pay attention here, it prints 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not including the top number. It's up till 7, but not including 7. And it starts at 0. Because indexes starts counting at 0. So you get the first 7 indexes, and that means it counts up to 6. We also have the option to define a range here going from and to. So we can say from 3 to 12. Let's try to do that. And then run it again. And then you see here, we get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up to 11. That's what we get. When we run a loop like this, it could be that we want it to do something special when it reaches a certain number. Let's say that the index here, these are months. So let's say we go to 12. And then let's say we want it, when it reaches the 6th month, we wanted to say half year. So we basically wanted throughout the range here normally to print the index, but now we want an if sentence in here within the loop. So we want to check if this index equals, and then let's say 6. If that's the case, if it's equal to 6, then we wanted to print half year point. Now it reached the half year point. Else print then we will say, wow, where are we here? Else print the index simply. So let's try to run that and see if that works. Oh yeah, we get the error because we need the colon here and we need a new line. Then we can run it. And then you see down here we get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and when it reaches 6 it will say half year point and it goes up to 11. See, that's not really good. So we might want to change that range there to, let's say, 13 to get the full year, and then we say from 1 till 13. So now we define the range here, and let's try to see how that looks. See, now it ends at 12. That's the full year, and it starts at 1. So now we have a good list here. But that's a way you can make it do something specific. If index equals 6, then we wanted to do something specific, and we could do another if and have it do something for the full year and so on.
That concludes this chapter of Python Learning by Doing. Make sure that you follow all the following chapters and go through the entire series. Also make sure to hit both the like and the subscribe buttons, because that would help me to keep creating programs like this. So thank you for doing that. And here after this there will be a link on the screen, and that will be to the next episode in this series of 26 videos. So take another cup of coffee and get ready for the next episode.